Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellows Show. I'm your host, fellow KGB. Today, we're going to do a quick video, maybe 10 to 15 minutes at the most. We're looking strictly at Week 5 waiver wire targets for fantasy basketball. So I do have a list here compiled. I play on ESPN, so I was able to create a watch list. I'll show some other things at the end, too, that we're looking at. But we're going to be straight into it, right in the point. Number one on the list, and you can just see I just have these guys filtered by percent rostered on ESPN. So we'll kind of work our way down. Depends on, if you're 8-man league, 10, 12. We have a guy that plays in a 20-man league. So we'll try to get a big spectrum here. But first guy on the list is going to be Shake Milton. This is a guy that's been blowing up the last two games here. So he's under 50% owned, and he's seen a 35.2% spike in the last maybe I think that's 7 days. But Shake Milton's playing a lot, and he did miss a few games. I think it was, the COVID personal stuff going on. But this is a really productive player. You see 36.25 and 51.5 fantasy points. He scored 28 and 31 in the last 2 games. He's going to pad the stats here, with rebounds, assists, steals. He even gets a block, so he kind of spreads it out here. So Shake Milton, probably the number one waiver priority of the list below 50%. And that's pretty much, the way I make the list is below 50%. We can kind of look that are maybe in the 60 to 50 video, but he's definitely number one on the list. Number two is going to be Detroit Pistons shooting guard, point guard, and he actually kind of started the year slow, but with Josh Jackson's injury, I think it was an ankle injury, we've seen Delon Wright get back into the starting lineup. He's about 49.1% owned, seen a little 2.9% spike, but the last 3 games really, really productive here. And this also coincides with Derrick Rose, kind of being in and out of the lineup too. He can play the point guard when Rose is not available, but you see 29.5, 29.5, 28.75, 29.75. So he's been on a really good kick here. I love seeing the minutes, 26, 32, 36, 34. He's not a really efficient or elite scorer, but you'd like that he gets the boards, he gets the assists, the steals and the blocks too. He's kind of getting this, pretty consistent. And the fact that you got a shooting guard that can get blocks, sign me up. So he's good for points leagues and categories leagues. So Delon Wright there, number 2. The next guy on the list here is going to be Will Barton. Now we take a huge drop. So I just showed you guys 2 people who are about 49% owned, and now we're looking under 40%. So this is 38.7 with Will Barton here. Now with Will Barton, you kind of have to just be patient. He's going to have a couple good games a week. He's going to have some not so great games throughout the week here, as you see in the last, week 4, only 2 points in this game, but 17, 22, and then a 5. So, 50-50 chance of him having a pretty good game on a nightly basis here. But I like the highs. The floors aren't the worst. 15.75, 13.5. I can live with those. If he's bringing in 36, 29, 36, and 32. So Will Barton here. The other thing too is he's averaging 29 minutes per game, but the last 7 days he's seen a spike here of 32 minutes, averaging a little bit more. He's spiking here in the points as well. So I do like those 2 categories. So Will Barton under 40% here, small forward and shooting guard. So I love that's what's cool about a lot of these guys on this list is I have a thing for looking for guys that are dual eligibility. So we have Milton, Delon Wright, Will Barton so far off the list here. And then we have another Philadelphia 76er here in Tyrese Maxiell, who he got some extended run because of all of their COVID situations. Seth Curry is still missing time right here. So we don't know when Curry's coming back. It sounds like maybe by the end of the week. But this is a really productive player the last week and a half or so. You see some highs here of 59.75 points, 28.75, 31, 33. And then kind of back down to reality here, under 16, under 18 points these last 2 games. But I think with his little blow up here against Denver, they're going to continue to give him minutes. I prefer Shake Milton if he's available, but this is a player to definitely, if you don't want to add him, just, hit him to your watch list. I think the watch list is a really efficient tool to build and just kind of keep collecting players that you're interested in. And, you can kind of just check it out and see how they've been doing. But Tyrese Maxiell, I do like that he's probably going to be averaging, 24 plus minutes for now here. So again, inconsistent until the COVID situations for Philly, but really, really sweet 4-game run here. I think this is more of a guy to kind of, just think about. I don't know if I'm saying to add him, the run might be over there. Next on the list is Kelly Olynyk. Now, this is the guy that's going to get minutes as well. He's actually in the starting lineup for the Miami Heat. He's averaging about 29.2 minutes per game, just a little over 11 fantasy or actual points, 5.5 boards, 2.5 assists. He's going to get a steal and maybe a block per game here. So I like this guy for category leagues. He's not elite in anything, in any one category, but I do like that he kind of spreads it out there. A couple weird games here against Philly where he just got tons of minutes because of their COVID situation here. But for the most part, Kelly Olynyk, 27.6%. Rostered here and almost 25 fantasy points per game here. So definitely check out Kelly Olynyk. I got Lonnie Walker here on the list next, small forward shooting guard. He's been kind of low the last few games here, but this is the guy that the Spurs are going to try to get him on the floor as much as possible. So you see he's averaging about 30 minutes here, and he's scoring the ball pretty well here. Now he's primarily a scoring player here. He doesn't really get a lot of rebounds. He'll kind of chip in some assists. I like his activity on defense as well here, but this is a guy, he can be their high point man on any given night here. You see some, 24s and 25s here. So I do like him. This can easily be, an add as one of your worst players on your bench, especially if he gets like 4 or 5 games in a week. So I like Lonnie Walker quite a bit. Under 24% owned. I'm going to shout out a couple other guys real quick, and then we'll kind of keep moving down the list. But is it Cedi Osman? But he's been playing really well here too. He has, moments of really big games here. So if you can stomach the floor games of a 10 or a 10.75, this is definitely a guy I'm pretty excited about. He's averaging 24.6 fantasy points per game, only about 20% rostered. So Cedi Osman, sign him up. Now, Luguentz Dort was a guy that we were probably high on maybe a week or two ago when he was on a really good run to start the year, but things have kind of calmed down since then. But last night he goes off 40 minutes against Chicago and 21 points, 8 rebounds, 6 steals. Now, this is nothing that's going to be duplicatable. But man, you like the hustle here with the steals. He chips in on blocks too, but he's primarily a scoring threat. I do like seeing the 8 rebounds, 6 and 8. So this is a productive player, averaging about 21.5 fantasy points here. But just something to monitor after a big game like that. Do they continue to let him shoot the ball? So Luguentz Dort there if you need a shooting guard, small forward. We got Monte Morris here on the list real quick. Denver Nuggets, let's see here. So he's a pretty healthy player. I like his floors, 11.25. That's not the greatest, but he can kind of hit the low 20s. He had a 38.5 here. So again, with a lot of the waiver wire options here, my favorite way to play fantasy basketball is I kind of like to leave 1 or 2 positions, open for a new ad for the week, where if I'm looking for a guy who's got 4 matchups like this Monte Morris here, if he's averaging 21.3 points, I'm going to tack on those 84 points over 4 games. So you might not have to like the low numbers, but man, if he's putting up 2 or 3 games of over 20 plus points, that's totally what you're looking for there. So Monte Morris getting a lot of minutes there too. So he's averaging more minutes in the last 7 days than he is on the season. And then we got Patrick Williams here, exciting young rookie, still a little inconsistent, but you're starting to see a lot of minutes here. He had a run of 30 plus in 3 straight games. I'm not sure what happened in Dallas here. He was kind of spread out. He is day-to-day. He's a game-time decision with that hip, so that was the game he got hurt in. But only 18.5% rostered, 18.9 fantasy points per game here. Again, exciting young rookie. A team like the Bulls, they're going to continue to feed their young player minutes and try to get him ready. Just development, it's a really big thing for these young teams to get the young players some time here. Then you got Willy Cauley-Stein. Now, this one's kind of interesting. I'm not sure how to feel about this one. He's kind of very inconsistent, but I like the minutes, 27, 30, 30. So if he continues to get the minutes here, now he's a very productive guy that he could be a double-double threat almost every night if he gets 25 to 30 minutes per game here. So I do like Willy. Now that it's basically because Dwight Powell has been out. So we'll see if that's going to last very long here, but definitely add him to your watch list and consider thinking about him. Now, this one's kind of fun. Immanuel Quickly. My friend Dalton was really interested in this, and he actually pointed him in my direction because the last 2 games, Mr. Quickly here, 39.75 points, 32 points, a little less today in his game against Orlando, only 15 minutes, 11 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists. So this is kind of a floor game at this point. So if you're interested in a guy here who has, this was a bad game for him, 15 minutes, but he scored 11 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists. If you give him, kind of his average of the last 7 days of 25 minutes, you're looking at a really productive player here for the New York Knicks. So I like Immanuel Quickly. He's the backup point guard there for Elfrid Payton. Only, under 16% rostered. So I'm going to call out another. We got a couple big guys here. If you need centers, Dwight Howard, Tristan Thompson should be back soon. Actually, he is back. He actually played last night here too. So I do like Mr. Tristan Thompson. We like Dwight Howard, who had a massive game the other night here. 18 rebounds for Dwight. So the minutes are kind of hit or miss, but you do see some trends of some more minutes here coming his way with Philly kind of going through their things. This is a guy that I'm very excited about. I actually added Patrick Beverly in one of my other. I play in 2 leagues. I added him in my other league. My team's very competitive in this league, so I want to add him, but I can't do it. But he has been on a trend lately here that I couldn't ignore. 29.25 points, 31, 25.75. That's fantastic. If he's going to be my worst player on my team, I'm going to be a tough out on any given week. And with Patrick Beverly here, you're going to get hustle on defense. He's got a good chance at getting, 3 or 4 total steals or blocks per game. I love that. He's really steady in the rebounds. I liked his activity there. The assists kind of are come and go, but he is averaging, let's see here. In the last 7 days, he's at least averaging 4 assists, 5.5 boards, 10.5 points, and then he's averaging, again, a steal and a block and a half per game here. So Patrick Beverly, if you play in a categories league, he is definitely someone that you should be checking out. But again, he's a starter for a good team in the Clippers. I like Beverly here. He does have an opportunity to go off for a random night or two, and he's kind of developed a floor here. Looks like, somewhere in the 16 to 18 points. So I do like Mr. Beverly, under 13% owned, averaging 21.2 fantasy points. So people are overlooking him here. Josh Hart, this is another guy here that I'm pretty excited about, and I wish I could add him. He's averaging 21.8 points, under 13% owned, and he is very productive, especially on a really fun New Orleans Pelicans team here. He's kind of the veteran, the wing guard here. But he's going to get a lot of minutes. You see he's averaging, almost around 30 minutes per game here. Not an elite scorer, but man, he's averaging just as many rebounds as he is points. So you love that. 1.8 assists, 0.8 steals, and 1 block every 10 games. So he's not going to get you blocks, but he's active in the steals, and I love his rebounding activity. So this is a guy very consistent. A bad game from him is going to be about 17 points. And you do have the opportunity to hit some 20s. He's pretty consistent around there. High game about 30. So I like this guy as one of my worst players on my bench. So Josh Hart. Let me see. I'm just going to call out a few other names now real quick. Bismack Biyombo. Definitely, if you need center help, check out Bismack Biyombo for the Charlotte Hornets. He doesn't really have any competition. Cody Zeller's still out, so I like Biyombo, 22.4 fantasy points. The guy that I use the video capture or the video thumbnail here is going to be Norman Powell, who he's been I was really high on Norman Powell coming into the season. He just has not been consistent of a scorer here, but he did, put up 24 points against Charlotte, 3 boards, 2 assists, a block, 29.25, fantasy points here. So that might have been his best fantasy game of the season. I took note of it. Someone to just kind of be ahead of on. He's about 10% owned, only 17.3 fantasy points per game, but again, if he plays 3 or 4 games in a week, you're looking at a guy that can maybe hit you, 50 to 60 points here. So as your worst player in your team, definitely check out Norman Powell. We'll see if this can maybe develop into a trend with minutes and points. I do like Mr. Powell there. A couple other guys I just want to shout out. Nickeil Alexander-Walker. While Lonzo Ball is out, he's been balling out. But I think Lonzo's coming back shortly. Isaac Okoro should get some run. It sounds like Kevin Porter Jr. is getting ousted out of Cleveland, so this would be really good for his minutes. But man, you look at his minutes. Last 7 days, he's averaging 39 minutes per game, so under 8% rostered. This is a player here who probably should be owned. For as much as the Cavaliers are going to use him, definitely look into Isaac Okoro. Gary Trent Jr., a little bit unpredictable for me. I don't know if I like it. Maybe if you're in a pinch and you just need him for 1 game kind of thing, he can blow up. And especially with, CJ McCollum out for maybe a week. Someone to look at here too is Xavier Tillman. Let's see here. He's been playing really well the last 3 or 4 games here. He actually got the start tonight. I think that game's still going on right now. And we see he gets the start. Jonas Valanciunas is still ruled out with COVID. So this is a guy that might have some run for at least a week, under 6% owned. So check out Xavier Tillman there if you need a power forward. Another guy, this is the last center on the list, and this is Khem Birch. This is a guy that I think should stay on your roster. He's averaging, so his season stats aren't, the minutes is the big deal here. So the last 7 days, almost 26 minutes per game, almost 8, real points, about 6.3 boards, 1.7 assists, almost half a steal, and he's getting some blocks every now and then. So he's not really a big shot blocker, but I like the activity with the steals, really good rebounding guy. Not an elite player here, but he kind of fills everything out. He's a role player for the Magic, and he's been on a roll here. 21.25, 20, 31.5. There was a 7.25, but again, back up to 31, 20.25, 23, 33. So more often than not, he's been playing really well. So check out Khem Birch if you need a center. And then I'm just going to call out some guys here. James Johnson for Dallas. Keep your eye on Dorian Finney-Smith when he returns. He's been on the COVID list. He's still out, 3.7% owned, but he was averaging 22.3 fantasy points per game before he left. So he's not a really consistent guy, but this could be a really good boost for the Dallas Mavericks when he comes back. So keep an eye on Dorian Finney-Smith. The last guy that I'm probably really excited about is going to be Garrett Temple. Now, I'm interested to see how he performs tonight. But again, he was moved from Brooklyn to Chicago in that blockbuster deal. And he played really well for Chicago the other night here on the 17th. 29 minutes, 21 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. So we can't expect this every night, but this has me excited for a young, inexperienced Chicago Bulls team to get a guy like Temple and maybe get him a little bit more run. So I'm pretty excited about Garrett Temple. I think 2.7% owned. Try to get him if you can, or just at least put him on the watch list. But I don't know. We're going on a little over 16 minutes here in the video, so I think I'm going to sign off. If you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm trying something different. I usually do my 1-hour live streams, but for this one, I kind of wanted to kind of keep it condensed. We'll do the Waiver Wire show on Monday nights. I'll keep it under 20 minutes for the most part, but I hope this was more compact, a little bit easier for me to just get all my thoughts out in one place. So again, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you guys in another video. Thank you so much for your time, and have a good one. Peace.